And good morning to you. I'm John Coriel, a spiritual practitioner here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Cape Coral, Florida. Good to have you with us this morning. And we'll just recognize you right where you are, and wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are welcome here. We believe that we are co-creators with the divine, and that you can change your entire life by changing your mind. As simple as that. Ernest Holmes is the founder of our philosophy, and we teach the universal truths found in all spiritual teachings, both traditional and contemporary. Please visit our website at cslcapecoral.org for prayer requests or to use the Contact Us tab to send us your comments or questions. Awfully good to have you with us this morning. And right now, let me introduce our meditation facilitator, Karen Gidley, who is a practitioner here at the center. Karen?
Thank you, John. Okay, now as we can just sit here, collect ourselves, take a nice deep breath in and let it out. And when you feel comfortable, go ahead, both feet flat on the floor, spine nice and straight, and close your eyes. Everyone can set aside a short time every day to increase your meditation, face your fears, and experience your worthiness. You, in fact, are truly priceless. All that you need is to relax, breathe, and follow your inner guide. Utilizing daily meditation techniques, instill within you simple methods of awareness that benefit every aspect of your life. Daily mindfulness practices can be done at any time of the day, and it's highly encouraged that you do not skip a day in order to fully experience the great changes that you are making to your life by doing so. Breathing is the most important thing that we do. It is keeping us alive, yet most of us do not notice our breath all day, and some even for several years. That's why it's so crucial to our physical and mental health to oxygenate our bodies fully and consciously. So let's take 5 deep breaths together and holding it for 5 seconds at the top. So first one, inhale positive energy. Hold it 5 seconds. And when you exhale, just let go of your breath, taking you into a state of relaxation. Second inhale, inhaling goodness. Hold it 5 seconds. And exhale into relaxation. Third inhale, acceptance. Hold it 5. And exhale, any judgment. The fourth breath, inhale health and clarity. Hold it 5 seconds. And exhale into serenity. And 5, fully inhaling desire and achievement. And exhale into complete relaxation, letting go of all the concerns from daily life. This is your new solution to facing your fears. Whenever fear presents itself, you simply take 5 full, deep breaths, holding it at the top 4 and 5 seconds, and then exhale, blowing out any fears that you feel. When you take your last breath, imagine you're breathing in courage and strength, and while letting go of your last breath, you say to yourself, I am relaxed. For some of us, worthiness does not come easily. Sometimes it's hard to even imagine feeling deserving. Yet, worthy is the state in which we were born. And most of us just simply need to be reminded. You are born invaluable, priceless, and praiseworthy. So let's remember that feeling right now and just allow yourself to feel worthy during this approach. So now, imagine that you're a tiny baby and there are people surrounding you that love you. They wrap you in blankets to keep you warm and care for you when you cry. Just imagine how you feel as a baby, worthy of this care and love that you are being given. This tiny baby deserves to be cared for. This tiny baby feels good in their spirit and body, where their worth shines out and is appreciated. Now imagine that you are holding this tiny baby, noticing how it feels. It feels small but powerful in your arms. You feel dignified because you are in the presence of pure worthiness. And that in turn makes you feel worthy too. Honored to share the love between you and this baby. As you hold this pure goodness, honor this moment. Cherish this feeling. Good. Now, honor yourself by saying, "It is natural for me to feel worthy and to honor the worthiness of others." It is natural for me to feel worthy and to honor the worthiness of others. Each day, in every way, I feel better and better. Each day, in every way, I feel better and better. When I have a fearful thought, I acknowledge that I feel this way, and then I completely release it. And when another fearful thought comes, it arises, I catch it quickly and say with confidence, I acknowledge that part of me feels this way, but this thought does not help me right now. It's just a thought after all. Each day, in every way, I feel motivated and strong. Whenever I am presented with feelings of being undeserving, I know my breath is there to soothe me and guide me into relaxation, releasing this unnatural thought. Every single day, I become aware of all the good things going on in my community and in the world around me. When I feel unwanted, emotion holding me back, I know that the way to break through is to take several deep breaths, relaxing my mind and body by doing so. This way, I can clearly see things for how they truly are. Each day, in every way, I face fears. I now challenge them with courage. In order to make things change greater, I control my thoughts effectively. From now on, I challenge every single negative and unproductive thought that arises. My intentions are pure. From this point forward, whenever you find yourself having negative and unproductive thoughts, such as I am unmotivated, you will immediately say to yourself the word enough. Anytime you find yourself having a fearful or negative, unproductive thought, you will immediately say to yourself the word enough. And every moment you say the word enough, you will find that these negative thoughts you were having will simply disappear. This gives you the opportunity to start a new positive thought process. When you are ready to begin building a new positive thought process, begin this technique of awareness. You just become aware of your body and notice a gentle wave of relaxation sweeping over you. You are a crucial factor in the forces of love. You are indispensable. You are a valuable energy radiating worthiness. You are the key to unleashing fearlessness. You are irreplaceable. You're extremely useful, extremely helpful, and fully motivated. Your courage is of the utmost importance. People notice you, and you compliment them honestly, and you are appreciated. You are doing very powerful work by practicing this meditation daily. This way, you change your life for the better. So now, by bringing your awareness back into the room, feeling the chair that you're sitting on, wiggling your fingers and your toes, and when you are ready, you can open your eyes. And thank you very much. Sunday celebration will begin in just a moment.
And thank you to practitioner Karen Gidley for our meditation this morning, and lots more coming up. We've got some great music for you, as always, here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Cape Coral, Florida. It's nice to have you along if you are out and about, or if you are right here with us this morning in person. A lot of people just tune in on the internet, and that works well too. So enjoy. Let us make welcome, shall we, this morning, the Big Love Band on stage and ready to go.
All right. You know we need your voices too, so stand with us.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, shine, let it shine. No more living in fear. We're gonna let it shine. No more living in fear. We're gonna let it shine. No more living in fear. Oh, we're gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
One more time.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. 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 God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Peace is my source. Peace is my power. Peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Peace gives me everything I need. Love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I'll give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
A little whistle there for the Big Love Band, indeed. Sounds good. Should we give them another round of applause? The Big Love Band. And we invite you to join us and maybe stand up if you like. And we welcome you and bestow this blessing upon each other that are here and that are joining us at home. Shall we say it? Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. We know who you truly are. You are the spiritual image and likeness of God. We appreciate you, we love you, and we are thankful you are here. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living here in Cape Coral, Florida, and here goes that wonderful Big Love.
Let me walk to the banks of the river of love, where the current runs deep, baptized in one, where there's no separation and the light is all we see, honoring all our differences, and love will set us free. Oh Lord, Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, oh there's a healing going on. I said, oh, you rock my soul. I said, oh, you rock my soul. I see the blessings of the past. It's time to requalify. Let's not forget, but learn to forgive. God knows we gotta try. It's my responsibility to heal the wounds in me. Compassion, faith, and hope, and love. Truth will set us free. Oh Lord, Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, oh, there's a healing going on. I said, oh, you rock my soul. I said, oh, you rock my soul. One more time, I said, Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, oh, there's a healing going on. I said, oh, you rock my soul. I said, oh, you rock my soul. I said, oh, you rock my soul.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, again. My name is Karen Gidley. I'm a licensed practitioner here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Cape Coral, and it is my honor today to be doing the pulpit reading. So I chose today, out of the Science of Mind book, page 35, the Science of Mind point of view. And there is a universal mind, spirit, intelligence, that in the origin of everything, it is first cause, it is God. This universal life and energy finds an outlet in and through all that is energized and through everything that lives. There is one life back of everything that lives, There is one energy back of all that is energized. The energy is in everything. There is one spirit back of all expression. That is the meaning of that mystical saying, in him we live and have our being. Again, that was page 35 on the Science of Mind textbook. Taking that into prayer, knowing the oneness of the source, this infinite intelligence, the power, the presence. And I know that I am one with this source, this power, this presence, this intelligence. And it radiates through my every cell in my being, just as it does for each and every one here in this center today and watching virtually online. Knowing this, I know that this beautiful energy radiates from each and every individual out into the community, out into the world, and knowing that this universal mind is living and is expressing itself through each and every one. And I am so grateful knowing this truth, and I anchor this into the divine mind, knowing that it is done. And together we can say, and so it is. Thank you. And now I would like to welcome our interim minister, Mr. Reverend Gregory Toole. Thank you.
And thank you, Karen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think I'm on. I usually see my face, but I'm going to trust on. So, good morning, Center for Spiritual Living Cape Coral. Thank you, Karen, for that wonderful reading and prayer. And thank you to the Big Love Band. I love that song. There's a healing going on. It's very relevant to our talk today. There's always a healing going on. There's always, especially in the science of mind teaching, where we're constantly clearing out anything that is unlike our divine nature. There's constantly a healing going on. And so it's so good to be here with you this morning and participate in the healing that's going on right here and right now. What's your healing today? What kind of healing is taking place in you today? What are you releasing? What are you embracing? What are you stepping into as newness today? What is it that doesn't serve you anymore? So you're ready to let it go, and you declare, I release that, I let it go. And what is it that is emerging in you that now you are embracing and saying yes to? This is our healing that is going on. So good morning, and it's amazing that next Sunday, 1 week from today, I won't be virtual. I'll be standing right there in the sanctuary with all of you. And that is going to be really exciting, as well as the weekend that I'll be there with all of you. We got a meet and greet going on Friday evening, and then some activities on Saturday. So I hope everyone will, just take advantage of that so we can come together, not just to meet me, but also so we can come together as community. And I really invite back everyone who has been part of this community that you feel is still called to be here. And then bless those that maybe have moved on, who have truly moved on. Like, this isn't their community anymore. This isn't what serves them. And this is healthy, right? That we embrace and welcome that which is present, that which is aligned, and we release that which is not aligned anymore. So again, so good to be here with you this morning. And our topic today, in this month of Holy, Holy Uprising, which is really a stepping into, a rising up into our spiritual magnificence. And today's topic is say their names. And it's really about the ancestors and honoring the ancestors, honoring those that came before us, which is very common in indigenous cultures, and some cultures today still carry that on. In our Western culture, it's not quite as common that we honor the ancestors, but it can be a really rewarding thing to do so. And so we're going to explore that a little bit today. We've got the Mexican holiday of Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, where they absolutely honor their ancestors. I was in Ghana, West Africa, some years ago. Gosh, that's 20 years ago now. And I was in a service. I was in a Sunday service, and it was a very special service. It was actually an 8-hour Sunday service. It was quite amazing. Us Americans were not at all used to that. We think a 2-hour service would be pretty long. But this was an 8-hour service with all kinds of special things. And it was a moment in the service where they started doing a roll call. They started calling out names of their members. And so they would call out someone's name and say, "Are you here?" And each person would say, "Yes, I'm present." And then they came to a person's name and he didn't respond. And so they said, "Oh, we'll send someone out there outside to see if that person's here." And they went outside and no one was finding him. And I thought, gosh, I wouldn't want to be that person. My goodness, they're really getting called out here, that they're not here. They're searching for this person. And it turns out it was actually a ritual honoring the ancestors. And so finally, they said, this person is no longer here. They have moved on to the next world. And it was just a whole ritual around honoring our ancestors. And so it was very rich. I didn't see it coming. I was just thinking about that this person was currently in our world, and concerned for them, that they were, being called out as they were as such. So today I just want to to really lift up. I'm trying to get my camera right here. So there we go. All right. So say their names, honoring the ancestors. And I was thinking about some of my ancestors. My grandmother, my maternal grandmother, was in the Unity teaching, and she was very much a metaphysician. That I didn't even realize it as a child. I thought she was interesting, but when I look back on it, I realized how many ways that she was really living this New Thought teaching. And one example that actually I learned about as an adult, because there was a period of a couple years where I spent one night a week having dinner with my grandmother, just her and I. And she told me all these stories of her life. And one story that she told me that I always found very interesting, in fact, when I wrote a book, I included that story in my book. And she said that she was walking down the street, and a teenager came running up, and she was in her 80s at this time, and a teenager came running up and grabbed her purse and started running with it. And she just yelled out, "So?" Like, so what? But she just yelled that one word, "So?" And the kid stopped in his tracks, dropped the purse, looked at her, and ran. And I just thought, this is the metaphysician, right? Who is unfazed by what appears to be a condition, a circumstance that's supposed to bring fear to her. And she was unfazed by it. And she spoke one word, "So." So, and it was her power. And the kid dropped the purse, and she went and reclaimed her purse. And I just love that story, and I love that my ancestry includes some of our New Thought teaching, because I thought, at the ripe old age of 35, when I came into the teaching, I thought, wow, I came in late. But apparently New Thought was part of my life growing up and influencing me. And, knowing that my grandmother was in that, and my mother's mother, that I'm sure that influenced my mother, who was always telling us we could do anything. We could do anything we want, and all things were possible, and basically instilling in us that we were going to do great things and that we were going to do good things. And all of my siblings and I have done well and gotten educated. And despite the fact that my parents did not go to college, all of us have done not only college, but graduate degrees and advanced studies and all kinds of things. So it's our lineage that we're talking about here today. Who is our lineage? Who is your lineage? Who do you remember? Who do you look at in your life that has had all this influence on you? Either your ancestors, people who have passed on, parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, all of these people that are part of your lineage. May you honor those people today, the people whose shoulders that we stand upon. I also think about all of my spiritual ancestors, all those that came before me that have had and those are just too great to count, the number of people that have had a major impact on me spiritually. I think of, we could start with Ernest Holmes, who now I've studied for, 27 years, and gosh, just such an influence on my life. It became my life, obviously, right? I'm speaking about, practicing the science of mind teaching day to day to day now for 27 years. And then I think of Joel Goldsmith and Emma Curtis Hopkins and Catherine Ponder. Then I go back to still living at 90 years old, of my first minister in science of mind, Reverend Eloise Oliver. And, how beautiful is that? At 90, she is still speaking and teaching. She retired from the church, but she is still speaking and teaching science of mind at 90 years old. She just turned 90 this year. How amazing is that? Then I want to invite us in to consider that we right now are ancestors in this truth that in reality, there's only this now moment, and the past, present, and future are all contained in this now moment of oneness. that we are already ancestors. We are the ancestors of those who will follow us and those who will come after us. And so, what kind of ancestors are we being? What kind of legacy are we leaving for those who are coming after us? What I love, especially about the Science of Mind teaching, is that it's so clear. I mean, it's already true of all of us anyway, whether we're in the Science of Mind teaching or not. But in the Science of Mind teaching, it's so clear that we are participating in the evolution of humanity because we are participating in the evolution of our own soul, of our own spirit, of our own being. We are participating day to day, moment to moment in that conscious evolution. Ernest Holmes talked about that we've already passed that point as humanity uh, where evolution is mandatory or dictated to us. We are now in that place of choice around how we're going to evolve as a species. And so every time we forgive any person, we've evolved ourselves and we've evolved our human species. We've evolved humanity. Every time we bring love in the face of something that looks unlike love, we have evolved ourselves and we have evolved humanity. Every time that we align with the spiritual truth of our being and transcend conditions, we are evolving humanity. I love the somewhat recent research that is done in around neuroplasticity and and what neuroscience is doing and how it's showing us that literally we can change our brains and we can rewire our nervous systems, right? And so some of these traumas that we've experienced throughout life, as well as some of these habitual patterns that we've developed, that we can really rewire ourselves. And I believe that in this work that we do in Science of Mind, we are doing that we are rewiring our brains, we are rewiring our nervous system so that we no longer respond in the way that we used to respond. I can think of a particular example with a family member of mine where we had a pattern such that it was like a role play. It was almost like a movie, and everyone had their parts to play, and I had my part to play. And I remember being new in Science of Mind, where I was really creating a lot of shifts in my life, and this person in my family started to play the role, like it was like a skit almost, there was a plot and it played out over and over and over again. And I remember he gave me my cue, like, okay, I'm just said my line, and now you know what it is you're to say. Of course, this is all beneath the surface. None of this is spoken. And I remember being so aware in that moment that I was not choosing to play the part that I was given so many times. And I remember, not playing my part in that situation. And I remember the response that it got, which was like, whoa, wait. I mean, it wasn't spoken, but it was like the expression was like, wait, we always play this little game together, and we do this little unhealthy habit thing and have a very unhealthy interaction. And it was so amazing to see when I stopped playing my part in the drama. Not only did the drama stop right there, but it never repeated itself again. So a drama that it played out over and over and over again, the moment that I rewired myself, the moment that I shifted myself, the drama was over. How many times in your life do you play out a drama? Do you participate in a drama unconsciously? And how could you consciously choose to not play your part in that drama anymore? This is the evolution of humanity. I love one of my kind of more recent favorite authors was Sri Aurobindo, who it is said that Ernest Holmes, toward the end of his life, was reading and studying Sri Aurobindo and really liked the writings of Sri Aurobindo. And I read his book, The Life Divine, unwittingly. I just had heard that Science of Mind, that Ernest Holmes read him. And one day I had it on my Kindle app. And one day I just decided to start reading it. and and was like, okay, I think this is my next book, not realizing it was 1,100 pages long. I didn't realize that until I kept reading and reading and reading, and the Kindle app still said I was at 1% complete. And so nonetheless, it was once I was committed, I was like, okay, I'm in it now. And so I made my way through all 1,100 pages, and what a read that is. I mean, it's a commitment, but what a read that is. And I want to share with you a couple quotes from Sri Aurobindo from The Life Divine. He says, in many cases, it is only when the nerves are able to reassert themselves and remind the mentality of its habitual obligation to suffer that the senses of suffering return. But this return to the habitual obligation is not inevitable, it is habitual. I realize that's kind of long and it might not make sense, but essentially what he is saying is the responses of our nervous system that are conditioned in us are just habitual. They're not obligatory, and we get to rewire those. We get to shift those. So and every time we make a different choice, every time we're able to consciously catch ourselves in an unconscious pattern and shift that pattern, we are rewiring ourselves, right? We are reprogramming our nervous system to respond in a different way. It's one of the reasons I love the practice of meditation, because meditation gives us what some have called the gap. And that gap is that little microsecond where we have an opportunity to either respond in the habitual way that we're used to responding, or to respond in a new way, to consciously choose to respond in a new way. And so meditation gives us that spaciousness whereby there's that little microsecond where we observe what is arising in us, we observe the habitual way we respond, we see it about to play out, and because there's that little gap of awareness, we're able to choose in that moment. Am I going to carry out and play out my normal pattern, or am I going to establish a new pattern? Am I going to consciously choose something different? And this is what we are capable of. And it's, again, one of the beauties of the practice of meditation is that we begin to enter into a little bit more stillness, a little bit more centeredness and groundedness, where we have that choice. Without that little gap, there really isn't as much of an opportunity to choose, because the auto program just kicks in so quickly, and then we just regret it afterward. We look back after and go, why did I do that again? Why did I respond that way again? But the more and more that we allow ourselves to be centered, to be grounded, to be in stillness, the more we can be the observer and the witness of our lives, as well as be the participant in our lives. Another quote from Sri Aurobindo: if we learn to live within, we infallibly awaken to this presence within us, which is our more real self, a presence profound, calm, joyous, and puissant, of which the world is not the master. A presence which, if it is not the Lord himself, is the radiation of the Lord within. And so that speaks to me again of this presence in us, this consciousness in us, where we align with the presence of the divine in us, and we hold things and see things in a totally different way, right? When we're aligned with our divinity, we see as God sees. We stop pretending that we're just like little old me. This is just little old me. You don't expect little old me to be able to handle big things like this, or you don't expect little old me to be the place of peace in the midst of chaos, do you? This is just little old me, right? These stories that we have about ourselves. But when we identify with our divinity, that I and my Father, Mother, God are one, that I am a divine expression of that one, we begin to see as God sees, and we begin to let go of this idea of our smallness, and we begin to step into our infinite nature of infinite love, infinite power, infinite creativity. And the whole world looks different, and we respond to the whole world differently. And we can accept that, yes, I can be the place of peace in the midst of chaos. I can be the place of joy in the midst of depression, even my own depression, right? That there is that place of joy within us, even as this wired nervous system that we are responds in a particular way, that we can still respond with joy. And we can still begin to transcend that, begin to heal that. As the big love band said, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Constantly a healing going on every time we identify with our divinity, every time we allow the human in us to give way to the divine. Not that we give up the human, but that we step into the greater sense of who we are. We are human. We're having this human experience, but we are divine. We are divine. So again, what kind of ancestors are we being? What kind of ancestor are you being? What kind of legacy are you leaving? Every time we rewire our nervous system, there's this concept also of intergenerational healing. There's intergenerational trauma, right? Which is trauma that we pick up through previous generations because they passed it along to us energetically, vibrationally, and even in our DNA and even in the way that we're wired. And then there's what we do with it. You know, and it's like, what am I going to do with this? Am I going to just accept this, right? As this habitual pattern, this thing that's just in me that was passed along to me? Or am I going to establish a new pattern, right? Someone said that something runs in your family, then it's time for it to run out. You know, we don't have to just accept that because something has run in our family, whether it's a disease or a condition or a way of being, we don't have to accept that just because something has run in our family, that it has to run us. We can let it run out and we can establish a new pattern. It's one of the beauties of the Science of Mind teaching, that we begin to talk to ourselves in a different way. We begin to speak a higher truth to ourselves. I don't believe in being divided against ourselves. I don't think we have to fight anything or resist anything. That just creates division, and we're a house divided, and that doesn't really serve us. But we just calmly, gently begin to speak our word because we know we have power. I have to pause for a moment to talk about last evening. I was sitting in my car. I had just arrived home, and I was sitting in my car finishing listening to a song before getting out. And two, not just one, but two skunks came walking up side by side, like literally like they were touching each other. They came walking up and their tails were straight up in the air. And I was like really monitoring them because I was like, okay, because they went under my car, and I was like, okay, I'm going to see them come out from under my car before I get out, because, you know, don't want to have an experience with them. And they were kind of just kept moving along their way. They immediately, I saw them go out the other side, and, you know, we're going in a totally different direction. So I was like, okay, good. But then, of course, I had to look up, especially because there were two. And skunks are usually solitary creatures, except for during mating season, which perhaps, you know, mating season is supposed to be, in my looking it up, between February and April. But perhaps they were still in mating season. I mean, they seemed to be like really close together and just like walking in unison. But nonetheless, I looked up the symbolism of the skunk. And the symbolism, I love the symbolism of the skunk. And it reminds me of this plaque I have right here on my wall. That's a scripture from Isaiah 30:15 that says, "In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength." And it's a plaque that someone gave me for my ordination as a gift. And that is kind of like the skunk symbolism, is that the skunk is not afraid. The skunk walks in calm assurance that it is okay, because in the animal kingdom and in the human kingdom and in everywhere else, there is an awareness of what a skunk can do. So no one wants to mess with a skunk. And the skunk has that awareness. And the skunk knows Like, I can spray someone if I need to, and it won't be good. It won't be pleasant. So they walk. So the skunk represents that quiet assurance, that quiet knowing that all is well and that I'm taken care of and I don't have to be on the defensive. So when we're speaking to ourselves, can we have, like the skunk, can we have that quiet, calm assurance that we don't have to fight these negative ideas or these old beliefs that just won't seem to go away? We don't have to fight them at all. Can we have the vibration of the skunk that we're just in this quiet, calm assurance? What we know from our teaching is that trained thought is way more powerful than untrained thought, which means our conscious thought that we speak, our conscious word that we speak, has many, many times more power than that unconscious thought that's not even based in truth. So it really has nothing to even hold it up. It's just something that's been hanging around for a long time. So we don't need to fight it. We can be like the skunk and know that I'm okay, right? I don't need to fight anything or anyone. And so we speak to it very gently, and we just say, what I say is, I don't believe that anymore. Very calmly. No fight, no resistance, no trying to stomp it out, whatever the word is. Just very calmly speaking to myself and speaking to the untruth and bringing truth to it. And say, no, I don't believe that anymore. Years ago, when I was beginning to work with prosperity consciousness and our prosperity principles, I remember waking up in the morning, in the middle of the night, one night with all this fear and, am I going to be okay? And like fear around money. And I remember having such a clear knowing in that moment for the first time that I had a new belief system about money and abundance and prosperity, and that those old beliefs were on their way out. They just had no power anymore. And I remember saying, I don't believe that anymore. And kind of like chuckling, like, wow, look at that old belief. Really? That's what I used to believe? And just, reinforcing my new belief, reinforcing a higher truth. So this is what we can do, is reinforce that higher truth, keep coming back to that higher truth. And in so doing, we're becoming amazing ancestors for those who follow us. We are establishing a different legacy. We are establishing, just as all those that came before us did so much of the work, right? Ernest Holmes, who laid out this beautiful teaching, and all of these other New Thought writers and teachers who, did their own, they couldn't just do this by sitting there intellectually and coming up with ideas. We know that they had to do their own work. They had to make these discoveries within their own being through trial and error and through living life and experiencing things and transcending conditions and transcending what their ancestors had given to them, right? All kinds of beliefs, right? New Thought came about through the knowing, that there were all kinds of physical conditions that were said to be incurable. And there were a group of people that said, well, I want to find a cure anyway, and so New Thought was born based on people discovering that they could transcend the conditions of the world by changing their thinking and changing their vibration and changing how they align with their spiritual nature as opposed to their anything going on in the physical world. So we can shift and change and rewire ourselves, and that's beautiful in itself. But then even more beautifully, because of this thing called oneness that is the core of our teaching, every change we make to ourselves plays some part in the evolution of all of humanity. Every time we transcend something, then we transcend it not only for ourselves, but for our family, our community, and ultimately our world. It is felt as a ripple felt all across the world. There's this example that's been given many, many times, but it's such a great example of the 4-minute mile, and how it was thought that a human could not run that fast, that no one could break the 4-minute barrier. It was just not possible humanly. No one had ever done it. And so there was a mentality that said we couldn't do it. And then someone did do it. And then after one person did it, many people did it. And so eventually that just became the norm. If you were a runner of any kind of stature, you could run a mile in under 4 minutes. So those are the kinds of things that we start to rewire our minds. We start to believe in a new possibility. We start to see something higher, that we can not only transcend it for ourselves, but we can transcend it for all future generations. So this is the invitation today. For one, to honor our ancestors and all those that came before us, that gave us so much that we didn't have to start from scratch, that we could build on and stand on the shoulders of those that came before us. And then to recognize that we too are ancestors. We are ancestors to the future generations. And what are we leaving them? What is the legacy we are leaving? Perhaps something that we've gotten complacent about. Perhaps we choose to transcend that, heal that, release that, just so that it doesn't have to get passed on to future generations. And it's not just about our family. We are one human race. We are one human family. We are one as humanity. And humanity evolves not only individually, but also collectively, because we are one. So thank you for all that you are doing to evolve yourself and all that you are doing to evolve humanity. Let's take that into prayer. And so just remembering that one presence, that one life of all life, that is infinite unconditional love, infinite power, infinite knowing and intelligence. And then I remember that this one is my very life and being, and the life and being of each one in the spiritual community, and the life and being of each one that concerns us. For God is all that there is. There's no place where God is not. And so in this awareness of our oneness, I speak this word this morning, declaring and knowing that we truly are evolving. We are contributing and participating in the evolution of ourselves and the evolution of humanity. And I speak this word this morning, declaring and knowing that that infinite power within each one of us is rising up to transcend conditions and circumstances, to align with that greater truth of our being. And good and more good is unfolding, and we are truly amazing ancestors for those that are coming after us. I bless it all and call it good, and in great gratitude, I release this word. I let it be. I know that all is well. We ground it together with the words, and so it is. And so I have the opportunity to also invite you into our offertory time. It's our opportunity to show gratitude for not only all that we have received today, but gratitude for the gifts that we get from Spirit, the gifts that we get from being a part of this spiritual community, all that we get from being a part of this spiritual community, all that we get from being on the spiritual journey, and that Ernest Holmes has given us, and that legacy, because our tithes also go back to Ernest Holmes' organization. We tithe as a center. We also tithe back to the home office, and we also give to all kinds of local charities as well. And so it's participating in that law of circulation. It just keeps circulating, because then the home office also tithes, and it's like this law of circulation where we just keep that flow going for everyone, and we lift up the prosperity of everyone. And how great it is to lift up the prosperity of Center for Spiritual Living Cape Coral. Like, why not have this be the most prosperous church that there ever was? Why not? Why not us, right? We let go of all sense of limitation. We let go of, you mean just little old me? You mean just little old Center for Spiritual Living Cape Coral? We're supposed to do that? Well, the infinite presence of Spirit is within each one of us. So why set a limit? Let us be so prosperous ourselves, and let us have the most prosperous spiritual community we could ever imagine. And let us do great work in the world. I'm totally off the script, but nonetheless, that's what moves in me around this. So you can, many ways for you to give. You can text your donation to 239-320-3820, or you can go to PayPal at cslcapecoral.org, or you can just go to the website, cslcapecoral.org, where you can set up automatic payments, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever works for you. You can make purchases on Amazon through the Amazon Smile, and some of that money comes back to the church as well. Many charities that we support: Hearts and Homes for Vets, the Cape Coral Police Department's Children's Program, and the Cape Coral Caring Center, who provides food and emergency financial assistance to families in Lee County. And so I invite you, if it's okay for you and it works for you, to hold your gift between your hands right now and join me in placing your hands over your heart as I speak our tithing, excuse me, affirmation. Today, I know the activity of divine abundance is at work in my life and the life of the center. I give and receive generously as I live in the flow of bountiful good. Yes, I say yes to that. Do you say yes to that? Yes and amen. And so let us bless this offering that each of us is giving, and know that if you're in the sanctuary, there are receptacles at the exits, in addition to the ways to give online. And so let us bless this offering, knowing right here and right now that every gift given is received gracefully. No matter, there is no big or small in God. Whatever we give with love. We give with knowing that everything we give makes a difference. And so we bless this offering, knowing that it goes forth to lift up this spiritual teaching, to support its spread in the world so that so many can have the tools, the teaching that we have. And so it lifts up so many. And it just blesses our world in ways we can't even imagine or see. And then beautifully, through this divine law of circulation, not only does it do all that good out there, but it returns right on back to us, heaped up, pressed down, and running over and overflowing. We cannot outgive God. It just keeps giving right on back to us. And so I am so grateful for this truth and this awareness, and so much good that comes from our giving. It is blessed, and all is well. And so it is. Thank you.
Marvelous, marvelous. Shall we put our hands together and thank Reverend Toole? I'll have to tell him when he gets here next week, he's going to be live with us, how I want to make, and I don't know if it's because there are actors called that, but I want to do O'Toole. That's what I want to call him, Gregory O'Toole, and not just Toole. However, that's not his name at all. We have some announcements for you coming up. Continuous Prosperity Consciousness book study is going on with The Infinite Way, is the name of the book by Joel Goldsmith that they're using. Meeting on Tuesdays on Zoom from 3:30 to 5. And you can join anytime. You don't have to sign up for it or anything. It's facilitated by Malika Davi and Linda Lloyd. And it's $30 per month, and you can check your email for or the website. Our website is cslcapecoral.org. I have to remember that. And our next slide is another great book study going on. I Am Enough. By Marissa Peer is the book that they're using. And they're meeting on Sundays on Zoom. And starting April 18th, they did at 6:30 to 7:45. And that one is facilitated by Valerie Data on a love donation basis. You can check your email or Facebook for the link to register for that one. And what else do we have? A new class, Conscious Loving. The Journey to Commitment by Gay and Catherine Hendricks. They are authors of the book that they are using, and I believe Reverend Toole is teaching that. It begins on Saturday, June 5th for 6 weeks via Zoom, 10 a.m. to 12 noon on those Saturdays, and the cost is $75. You can register via Breeze, Facebook, or check your email for the link on that one. And the midweek tune-up continues with our own. Melissa is teaching that, or facilitating that, shall we say, outside, weather permitting, and socially distant with masks optional. So you can wear them or you don't have to if you don't want to. Great open house coming up where we can meet and greet as our interim minister, Reverend O'Toole, is going to be joining us. There'll be appetizers, wine, music here on Friday, the 28th of May. And that's from 4 to 6 p.m. for a meet and greet with our interim minister, Reverend Gregory. Good to actually meet him in person. I haven't as yet, and just met him online, actually. That's the only way. So far. You can get social with us too. We're going to come out to Cape Cabaret. I don't know if you know where that is in downtown Cape Coral. Saturday, May 29th, starts at 5:30 for dinner, and they'll be dancing to Bare Facts. I don't guess we have to take our clothes off or anything. Bare Facts being the name of the band. There is a $5 cover and a $10 minimum purchase. You can, if you have dinner, that'll be covered, of course. So that's coming up, and our food drive continues too. Bring your dry goods and put them in the box that is out in the lobby there, and we do appreciate your continued support for that. Our 1-minute miracles are back. Practitioners will be available for prayer immediately following service outside our sliding doors there. So don't leave with something weighing on your soul. Ask for a little 1-minute miracle. And don't remind. It says exit reminder. There we go. To give a little arm shake outside the door there. We'll chat it up, and time now for Standing in the Light. There were more announcements than I realized. So as we gather together and turn to Spirit, to that infiniteness that is within each one of us in this Standing in the Light, most magnificent time to know the truth about individuals that we wish to see in a bettered condition, shall we say. We just say thank you for the good that comes forth from this right here and right now. And we can speak the words of that person's name and just knowing what we wish to see for them right here and now. And standing in the light for all the unspoken prayers, and for each individual here and at home, online, wherever you may be. Speak your word, your name into the light. John. And we just know right here and right now that all good unfolds for the prayers that have been spoken, the ones that were unspoken. We just know the truth about them, that they are whole, complete, and perfect right here, right now. Whatever situation, whatever condition exists or appears to exist, we just say thank you for its untruth. knowing that the good is right there at the center of us. And we just give thanks for that. We affirm that. We know that to be the truth. And together we can say, and so it is.
We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let peace, we let hope wash over us. Yeah. We let it be. We let joy wash over. Wash over us. Wash over and over us. Yeah. Oh, we let it be. We let love. Let it fill your heart. Let it fill your soul. Watch over and over you. Oh, we let it be. We let love watch over us. Watch over and over us. Oh, we let it be.
Have a good week.